When you are talking about accounting, there is hardly a more important process to undertake within the program than the deposit. The reason this process is so important is that it is where you ensure that the incoming payments have actually been recorded. In this tutorial, we will be working in the Ledger tab's cash account. This is an account preserved for internal function, as this is where Agency Pro holds all of the receipts waiting to be deposited. As I have been working in other areas of the agency, any payments I have taken have been posted here so that I can make a deposit when I'm ready. Now, I may have multiple banks that I deposit to, as in this case in our sample agency, where I have a checking and a trust account. This means that I might make two separate deposits, as I will do today. So let's begin by making today's trust deposit. I start by clicking the Make Deposit icon, which clears all of my deposit history out of view, showing me only what remains undeposited. Because I deposit all of my client payments to my trust, I will begin marking them as I confirm that I physically hold that payment for deposit. I mark an item by double-clicking in the XD field. As I mark these items, they will give me a tally at the bottom of the pane. I leave unmarked the items I plan to deposit to my checking, or any item that I do not have in my pile. If I hold a payment for an item that is not in my ledger, I need to use the regular workflow to enter that payment. Let's pause there and talk briefly about the source of an item. Each of these items we just marked for deposit were applied either on account or against a policy. The policy level transactions can be quite complex and are no longer tied directly to this entry you see in cash, even though the entry you see in cash serves as the balancing entry to the payment postings. What this means is that you do not want to change the date of the cash entry or the amount posted against the bracketed account in the transaction detail at the bottom. There are methods for adjustment. Let's say that ABC Construction paid me $11.70 instead of $11.75, and I just want to write off the difference to over short. I can unlock this entry, edit the amount, and then add a new line to the transaction detail. I find my over short account and I post the $5 there. This warning applies to any receipt that has the chart number in brackets. One last thing, if you add an entry manually to this ledger, be sure that the chart number is not in brackets. The brackets act to allow the program to ignore the entry as it resides somewhere else in the program, which is not the case if you add a manual entry in cash. We will go over the addition entry during our checking deposit. Okay, back to our trust deposit. We have all of our items marked. If any of these are cash receipts, I will make sure that they are marked true in the cash field. I double check my total to make sure that it is what all my receipts add up to. Then I click Done Marking. I choose the bank to which I'm making this deposit. If this deposit was an EFT, say the company automatically deposited the funds to my account, you can click that option. However, it simply withholds a deposit ticket, so I just leave it at bank deposit for all scenarios. If you are working in a back range, make sure to adjust your date appropriately. The deposit slip will attach permanently to the items of the deposit, so there is no need to print it unless you are using it at the bank. The deposit report at the top shows our item detail, and the ticket at the bottom will show our routing and account numbers along with a summary of our detail. I close our report and click OK to finalize our deposit. In the cash account now, I can see all of the items that we had marked as part of this deposit are still listed, but they now have Ds in the XD field. The deposit report can be regenerated by clicking this icon on any one of those items. The total deposit amount has now been moved out of the cash ledger and into the trust ledger, where I will find it represented as a single deposit entry, which should agree with your bank statement. Notice that the transaction detail on this entry shows a credit to the account transfer account, which is the opposing entry to the payment automatically entered to reduce our cash account. This was a simple transfer of funds from the cash to the trust. Now we will deposit our income to our checking account. Let's say that today we got a rent payment from a tenant and we want to deposit that along with our 2 company commission checks. In Cash, we return to our deposit mode by clicking the Make Deposit icon. We can mark the items that we have available, and then we can manually add our rent payment by using the Insert key on the keyboard and filling out the new line. If this tenant has paid you in the past, you will find the entry in the Payee dropdown. If not, add it and allocate it to the appropriate account. If this is a cash payment, mark it appropriately. Mark the item as part of the deposit, and if the total is correct, click Done Marking, make your selections on the Make Deposit window, and click OK. Remember, you can always regenerate your deposit slip if you forgot to print it. One last area to address. Items in the cash account that are not factual or are duplications of factual items need to be addressed independently. These are where you may catch procedural or agency workflow issues. Because of a vast number of possibilities, you may want to contact agency software support to help you research the issue, but in the meantime, do not deposit these non-factual items. We discussed the importance of this process in the accounting workflow, as this is where the completeness of your receipting is proved. Another integral accounting process is bank reconciliation, where you will confirm that all the deposits that hit your bank made it into the program. If your aim is data accuracy, then you will want to continue on to review the periodic process, a process that should be done periodically to make sure all areas of your accounting are accurate.